That's right, everybody. Everybody's favorite cat in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 is banned. So, how did this happen? What the heck is going on? So, pretty much, we had some talks. The Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 1.4 balance patch and bug fix patch was released yesterday, and I was working on creating a video for it. That is this one, about just the patch itself, my thoughts on it, because a lot of the fixes in it were really good. We discovered more than we thought we would about the game. I think overall it's a good intention with this patch, but one huge glaring flaw in it is the changes to Garfield, which when I say changes, I really mean change, because it was one change to Garfield that led to him getting banned. So what was it? So, I posted this on Twitter. After talking with other tournament organizers, beta testers, and community representatives about Garfield's legality, we have not come to the conclusion on whether we agree Garfield should be banned due to his new infinite Sugar Rush mode. Certain TOs, including myself, agree he should be banned, but not all TOs are willing to ban a character this quickly. And that being said, I am advocating for a pro ban until the fix for Garfield is issued, which realistically won't be until after the holiday season. So probably about 1 month from now, the patch to fix Garfield will be released. And even then, even if you have to assume it's not a month, the earliest it could possibly be is a minimum of 2 weeks from today, because they still have to make the patch and then have it submitted and issued by Nintendo and all of the other consoles, so that the quality control is there for them, which is unfortunate because the choices we have as tournament organizers is to either let this rock and just let everybody kind of deal with it, or we can attempt to stop it from affecting people by just simply banning the character for a month. We know, based on my conversations with beta testers, we are aware of the fact that this could take a month to be sent out, and that's kind of just how it's going to be. We're going to have to see if it's ready by the time of Frosty Faustings. We're going to have to see if Let's Make Big Moves, which is earlier in January, is able to ban the character, or are they going to just not ban the character and let it rock and see what happens? I think that it's a wise decision to ban the character, just for now. And to pretty much explain what this is before showing it, is that pretty much Garfield, now after earning any amount of food from Sugar Rush, he can install permanently, which means his down special, when you activate it, no matter what the amount shows in the meter, you can have like the most minuscule amount of food, and it will last infinitely, forever. So, here's what that looks like. So, you'll pretty much never be able to touch him. It's just gonna be too hard to do. And pretty much, somebody asks, is Sugar Rush intentional or is it a bug? And it's definitely a bug. The latest patch, like I said earlier, was intended to fix it. And originally, the bug was activated slime canceling. But now, because of this one change, attempting to fix one way you could do that initial infinite, which was fixing an issue to Sugar Rush state without using meter if it was interrupted by hit. Well, now you can use Sugar Rush with a minimal amount of meter without getting hit or having the slime cancel it, and you have infinite meter forever. So it's just clicking down special. Very easy option to do, whether you're inputting it intentionally or not. Now it could just happen. The state lasts infinitely until he dies. It is tough to kill Garfield, but good luck ever hitting him, you know, once he's moving so fast. This is where I'm at right now with it. Luckily, this is seeing a lot of people. A lot of people are seeing this. We have the Rockman, the Rockman quote retweet going, "Hello, Garfield from Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, and hello, Steve from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate." And they're both banned. So, oh man. Just unfortunate. We also have the HBox quote retweet. saying, imagine reading this in 1978. And honestly, yeah. Yeah, like, there's so many people saying, like, this is ridiculous without any context. And I don't even think they want context, but it's so funny, like, having to, like, see their perspective on it, of just, like, you don't know anything about it, but, like, you're still laughing, because it's just, like, this sounds ridiculous. Because it is! Like, how did this happen? And I'm sure the developers didn't want to, like, obviously do this. It wasn't intentional. But I think that one thing that is very apparent from this is that, I saw somebody else say this on Twitter, is players need to know and let developers know that they don't need to overstuff patches. It's okay if there are things that they need fixing or need balancing. It's okay if those are one patch later, okay? Like, we do not mind. Like, obviously, there are people always saying, we need to nerf Granny. She's so broken. Her down strong makes her hurtbox shift and kill you. And it's so annoying how long it lingers. Grr, 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 grr. But, like, you know, or, like, we need to nerf Danny Phantom. He's so broken. Ah, rah, rah, rah. But, like, if you're releasing patches that are having issues with the amount of things you're changing and it's causing other things not to work because you're just throwing like the numbers in or coding or whatever and it just breaks something and then you just leave it as that and there's not enough time to like make sure that it was done correctly, that's a problem. It's okay if the patches are smaller as long as the things focused on are fixed instead of causing more and more issues. So I hope that at some point they've learned their lesson on this, because we had this patch now and 1.3 both have had these issues where it's added slightly more issues than it's fixing, or at least it feels that way because certain issues are very apparent. And for some people, they never experience those bugs, and for other people, they experience them a lot, which is why people tend to get pretty upset with certain decisions made. But this is the end of the first part of this video, and the second part is in this part, so that's why there's such a long timer down there still. But I hope you appreciate this part of the video, and without further ado, we'll move on to the second part, which is focusing on the patch as a whole for 1.4. So, let's get to it. So as of writing this, the patch is live. So this is a bit different because I've actually already experienced what I was going to talk about in theory only. But what's up, everybody? There's a new patch for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 1.4, and this is actually just a preview for the patch notes. So there's actually a full patch notes coming, I assume, at a later date, likely after Christmas, but it's possible they may be in by tomorrow as well. But the patch coming out today before Christmas is actually unexpected, as a lot of the beta testers I've talked to didn't realize that it would be dropping today. But regardless, this is a follow-up video to my previous update, and so far with this one, the game and the developers are doing a great job at actually, this time around, working with feedback and making sure that we are getting fixes that are helping out. And some of these things are things like Team Attack. Team Attack is now in the game. Things like Stock Mode, Steal Stock, is in the game, so now you can click a button, a combination, to steal a stock from your opponent's set. When you're playing doubles, you actually can have a 2v2 instead of a 1v2 with a ton of stock still on. Fixed, so now it ends on 0 instead of 1. It fixes an issue where competitive players no longer can kick players in competitive lobbies. So now, apparently you could kick people from lobbies during competitive mode in ranked, but that is no longer the case. Also, they fixed the issue where CPUs would just get stuck on Legend Stay There, which is actually really important for campaign and in the training room, the dojo. Campaign fixes, which is so important because the social mode and the single player modes of NES2 are super important to have like a good experience in. And so fixing bugs with the bosses dying at half health, adding off-screen indicators to arena mobs, fix the bosses ending at phases when continuing to run in progresses from the main menu, which is great. Added a power-up category icon for the NPCs in campaign. Fixed the interaction indicator not working properly at first. They fixed Clockwork and Vlad Plasmius idle animations in the hub. and they fixed CPU starting at incorrect difficulties when in the training room with Splinter in the hub. And that was just the start of it. There's actually a ton of other things with balance adjustments that get into here, so I really think the developers were being on top of this. And also just like these general balance adjustments, but some big things from here that I'm actually happy that they did were things like Patrick and Plankton's Yoinky Splinky gang removed, which what that is, if you aren't familiar with that term, it's a term I've coined for each of them where they have a command grab that ends up causing them to get grabbed in an unactionable state. So what that means is Patrick would grab somebody with his counter, and what would happen is when you would grab them as Patrick during the counter, it would cause their model to get stuck inside of you, and then you would be unable to react if you were the person getting countered by Patrick, and then Patrick could just run around. And the same thing happened with Plankton as well. If you remember a while back, this also happened with El Tigre, but that was actually patched out as well. And now both of those aren't the case anymore. Other things that weren't even in the patch note, but were actually patched out, were things like Aang's airball shield damage is gone, and Donatello can actually drop from ledge properly. So there's a ton of things that aren't even here that were really big issues that I had with 1.3 that are completely gone now. So shout out to the devs for being really great at getting all of this stuff done with. I appreciate the feature fixes and the cleanups done to the issues introduced from last patch, but I'll also say this, I really wish that the changes and fixes from this patch didn't cause new issues to rise up. And what I mean by that is Garfield, unfortunately, has a new bug where he, pretty much when he uses down special, when he has any amount, now has an infinite amount of sugar rush. So he has way faster movement speed, way faster and larger up special, and he has like a bunch of other things with that as well. And that's a huge problem because it only goes away when he dies. This, like I said it prior, because he used to have this issue, but it was with slime canceling the down special. Now you can do it without even wasting a slime meter, making it stronger, even though the fix that was given applied to it without using meter if it was interrupted by a hit has nothing to do with stopping that initial bug with the slime cancel happening. So now it's actually easier to do and get an infinite amount of sugar rush, which makes you move quicker and all of these other stat boosts. So it's just really annoying to have to deal with stuff like this, as well as other issues in the game that I've seen thus far. Literally, as I was testing this and writing the script for this video, I was at first upset about the lack of a controller fix for offline play. And what I mean by this is that there was a bug, and there still is a bug, where pretty much if you plugged in two different types of controllers, like an Xbox controller and a GameCube controller, it would cause the game to just crash. Like, you simply couldn't have two different types of controllers offline on PC. And it was terrifying for me because as a tournament organizer, I want to host NAS 2 tournaments in person. But the amount of issues and like troubleshooting I would have to do to get this fixed is causing pretty much me to not want to have to even bother. And luckily, because of the patch, even though it doesn't state that it did slightly fix this, making at least Xbox and GameCube controller and Pro controller in my testing playable at the same time. It's not perfect, and it still causes players to have to restart the game each time in order for new controllers to be plugged in, and it doesn't seem to work well in doubles or free-for-alls. So if you want to have more than two controllers plugged in at a time, even the ones that are currently compatible in 1v1s on a PC, it still unfortunately isn't the case, and you'll need to wait at least a little bit longer until that patch is sent out to us. With the true fix, at least. But this means that for tournaments like Let's Make Big Moves 2024 and Frosty Faustings and Genesis, at least these tournaments will have some form of fixed controller support that will allow us to actually have the event run smoothly without having to worry about anything else. So, really glad to see that happen. But overall, regardless of my thoughts on the priorities they should be having, I think what the devs have been doing so far is a good job, and the changes and fixes that have been done are what the game needs. I just honestly wish we could have gotten more fixes, because it seems like we're almost there in terms of what we need, but we're just not at a point where I can say the game's in a great state. It's just a good state. But the balance as well is Definitely good. Make sure in the comment section to let me know what you think of this patch 1.4 for NASB 2. And thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.